everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So in today's video, it is going to be the ultimate nuking Lepic build. So without further ado guys, let's get right on into today's video. Before we do that though, real quick, my creator code is going to be on screen right now and my Discord server is going to be linked in the description. With that all out of the way, now let's actually get on into today's video. Okay, so starting off, this is a build on ultimate Lepic. Now you can do it on regular Lepic, but I do advise ultimate because, you know, you're going to be holding onto the ultimate a lot longer than you are going to be holding onto the normal Lepic. Now all nuking Lepics are going to more or less look the same, but let's go on over the modules real quick. Now as you can see, this is a pretty loaded config, and this is going to be using the Descendant mod, Firearm Master. That can be obtained from Obstructor, but the first mod is Firearm Master, which is going to increase our skill range and increase our skill power upon reloading and changing weapon, which is important. And we are going to also be using Dangerous Ambush. This is very important. When the enemy is not targeting us, we get plus 25% skill power, and if the enemy is immobilized, plus 50. This is going to be amazing for bosses. Using skill concentration, we're going to be getting a lot more critical hit damage, and then using enlightenment, we are also going to be maxing out our MP. We are going to be using fire specialist for our next mod. Once we hover over it, there you go. 81% skill power for fire, which is going to be very important. Then we are going to be using skill extension to increase our duration on how long our spicy meatballs are going to be out. Again, MP accelerant for more skill duration, and a little bit extra MP is going to be important. Next up is emergency measures, which is skill hit rate and skill hit damage, which is going to be very important. Next up, we are going to use skill insight to obviously increase our hit rate a lot, and then we are also pairing that up with front lines for skill hit crit damage, and then we are going to be using maximize power for the modifier and skill cooldown, the skill power modifier more than anything else. And then last but not least, we have long distance maneuvering. This can be exchanged with mid air maneuvering or multi maneuvering, but I do long distance because in a Colossus fight it is a little bit better. Now the skill we are going to be focusing on is the number 4, the overkill, which is a tech skill and is also a fire skill. Looking at the stats, you can see that the continuous damage is 6.3 seconds, duration is 12 seconds, and we have a lot of continuous damage and even a lot of burst damage. Now the downside with this config being that our cooldown is 2 minutes, our MP cost is a little bit higher, and the continuous MP cost is also a little bit higher than normal. That being said, you won't feel this much in actual gameplay, so let's go on everything else that completes this build. So next up, let's go on over the reactor you are going to want to run for this build. Now for the weapon, you can choose any. In my case, I have the Devotion. And for the skill power boost ratio, I have fire and I have tech, which is very important for this config. Now for the two stats at the bottom, I have golden fire skill power boost ratio and purple attack skill when attacking Colossus. Now this is not optimal, and I'm going to show you the optimal stats on screen right now. What I think is that having the Colossus and the crit damage is generally the meta for this. However, having the Colossus and the fire skill boost or the tech skill boost is almost just as good, if not better. I don't know. There's not a perfect way to test this, and I can't farm the reactors like a madman yet because I don't have that much time. So you know, I think that this is basically very similar, if not the same. Also, I do think having just the tech and the fire on the golden stats at the bottom is still going to give you a massive boost, but more generally, it doesn't just depend on what you have on your reactor. The stats and mods on your weapon also matters too. So on my case, I have the Devotion like I mentioned. I have fire attack, firearm critical hit rate, recoil, and firearm critical hit damage. Now this is obviously again not optimal, and I will put the optimal stats on the screen right now. So with whichever weapon you have, you are going to want to basically get a collection of all of these stats if possible. Obviously hit rate and hit damage for more damage outwards, and the damage to the Colossus is going to help too. Fire rate, because we do need more fire rate because this is going to work with our ultimate weapon for Lepic, and fire attack again to boost the damage for Lepic. Weak point damage because, you know, you'll end up hitting some weak points maybe, and this will also do extra damage right over there. Now for the modules on your weapon, as an absolute minimum you're going to need these 3. Sharp precision shot, which is going to basically make your firearm attack go up even faster, and it will reduce your fire rate whilst at it. And then fire rate up, obviously to counter your low fire rate, and that is going to be the 2 mods you essentially need on your weapon as a minimum. Now if you invest in your weapon hard and make it have a ton of fire rate and fire attack and crit damage, that will also help out. Now let's go on over the components you are going to want to be running on this config. Starting off, you are going to want to be using the Slayer set from the Pyro. This is going to be essential because of that beautiful plus 26% skill power right over there. So now let's one by one talk about each component and what you are going to need on said component to basically make this optimal. Starting off with the top part, which is going to be the power. For this one, what you are going to want is HP, max HP increase, and then you are also going to want MP out of combat. Now obviously we need the max HP for extra HP, but the out of combat MP we are going to need because if you have enough distance between yourself and the boss, this will also cause you to generate MP back, which is very useful. Next, for the sensor, you are going to want the stats max MP and MP recovery in combat. And as you can see, I've got one over there, MP recovery in combat. Let's chuck that one on. That one is going to be better because the way that this is that we are going to basically need to farm and basically get our MP back as fast as possible whilst using our fourth ability, because it will let us use more shots in the long run. Okay, so next up for the memory, what you are going to want on this one is going to be the defense and the MP recovery modifier. Now I only have the MP recovery modifier on this one and I don't have the defense, which is kind of sad, but yeah, so the MP recovery modifier will scale with the MP in combat, and all of these MPs will work together and basically send your MP flying, which is important. And last but not least, for the processor, what you are going to want is a max shield and then shield recovery modifier. Now I don't even have anything remotely close to that for the processor, so I've just gone with whichever Slayer processor that I have. I'm just going to chuck this one on. Equipment drop rate increase modifier. I guess that is kind of nice, but even still, what you want for this one is shield and shield recovery modifier. Okay, so with all of the setup now explained to you guys and the config and all, let me show you how I play this version of Lepic. Now I'm just going to show you some gameplay of a run that I did with 3 other people where I told them I'd carry them for the Dead Bride. Now with the Dead Bride, she does have a weakness to fire anyway, so this should make it a little bit easier. Starting off, I want to make sure she does not have her eyes on me and is not focusing on me. Next up, I will use the second ability for the overcharge and give myself more damage. Then I will use the fourth ability and then immediately roll. I will roll to cancel out the animation for the ability. Now as you can see here, I've just gone and sprayed up with the fourth ability and I didn't get her down fast enough, so now I am forced to just use my Enduring Legacy. Now because of that cooldown being a whole 2 minutes, it is best to just wait it out a little bit, or at least until she goes into her frenzy state. And this does apply for every other boss, by the way. It is more or less the same gameplay loop, so I'm just going to be waiting for her to go into a frenzy state. Once she is like that right there, she is going to be immune. At that point, I will basically end myself. I will respawn, just so that now, as you can see, I do have my second and my fourth ability back again for usage. Now the important thing is to make sure that the other players in your lobby are going to survive, because if they do not, then you're going to have a very bad time whilst trying to run this. You don't have to run it this way. You can just wait for the 2-minute cooldown to restore and then go that way, but I prefer to be a little bit more efficient with the time, so I wait for something like this. Now with this, I'm just basically shooting her frenzy point, her weak point, and I'm going to make myself get out of here right now because I ain't trying to die to the fire. And this is where the long distance maneuvering comes in. Obviously, you know, you want to be making sure you can get out of there and latch onto things that are far enough away. Another important thing is make sure to kill all of the annoying little fishy things, because they just constantly screw you over, especially when you're trying to revive someone, or just in general they are very annoying to deal with. Now once she is out of her immune state, like she is right there, this is where we go in for the kill, using the second ability, fourth, roll, and now just hold your fire rate button so that the buff from the sharp precision shot kicks in. And as you can see here, now the weakness is kicking in, and because she's immobilized, we are getting double damage on her, and it is GG's as fast as that. The Dead Bride is down, I think, in under 2 minutes. Let's have a look at the little timer once it shows up. In literally just under 2 minutes, yeah. And this is a 4-player lobby, so you know, this is as high as her scaling will get, but it's more or less the same with every other boss. An important thing to remember is the more players in the lobby, the more the boss's health will scale. Again, over here, all we are going to do is wait for the bride to spawn in. We're going to hit her with the 2 for the extra damage, switch to our devotion, hit it with the 4th ability, roll, and then as you can see already, she's going to jump and she's already frenzied, double damage, and just delete that entire health bar. Now, like I said, this is more or less the same gameplay loop with every single boss, and it just is about timing it correctly and basically making sure that you get lucky and hoping that they do not use the frenzy. Again, over here with the Devourer, 4th, roll, and now we're just holding it down, we're shooting at my man, letting him take all the hits, and it's as simple as that. Now you will be able to do every single boss in the game solo with this currently, and currently you can only solo up to the Swamp Walker as of update 1.0.6, which is where we are at right now. But if this does get changed in the future, I hope to see that, you know, soloing the Frost Walker with this would be pretty cool. And you know, who knows, maybe even Molten Fortress and one day Gluttony, depending on what happens in the game. And we did get an energy activator, which is pretty nice. But anyway guys, that has basically been this video, and I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, please do smash that like button, and if you're new here, consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!